night, doing another late night crypto and rum. I'm trying to get back on schedule. This Friday, I didn't talk about it last night. I want to talk about it today though. Let me turn down my music for a minute. So, this Friday is going to be a really, really good crypto 101 workshop session. I think you guys are going to love it. So, I need to do a little bit of PR advertising on Twitter. We've got a really, really awesome agenda I've been wanting to do for a long time lined up for Friday. But let's say hi to everybody. I'll talk about that. Tonight's Late Night Crypto and Rum is brought to you by, well, unofficially, I'm obviously not sponsored. But this is, I did the Boom Boo XO tonight for you guys. Boom Boo XO, one of my favorite sipping rums, under $50. It's great. Good evening, Hong, Rashid, Kimberly, Joshua, Carl. Laugh out loud at rum. Michael. Yeah. I'm happy to be going live here. Sorry guys, I didn't get a tweet out about this entry. I was busy. I saw this setup. I did take I did add to my leverage position on that little breakout retest resumption. That was a great one. Vern, what's going on? Sharon, first time here. Hi Sharon, welcome. Are you Sharon? Are you plugged into CTM, Conquering the Markets? Are you plugged into Jordan Lindsey and Conquering the Markets? If not, if you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. That's what Jordan says. I'm going to copy it for a little bit here just to make sure everybody knows that we're associated with the great Jordan Lindsey, the greatest trading community on the internet. Conquering the Market. I almost said my channel name. Conquering the Markets, CTM. Take a sip of my rum. That's really good sipping rum. All right. Hi, everybody. So, oh, great. You are from CTM. Cool. You are plugged in. Good. Loving the green bars. Yes. Thank you, Vern, for the like. To the moon. Good morning from down under. I really want to go to Australia if that's where you're at. I'd also love to go to New Zealand and Fiji, which are, for me, in that general direction. Of course, I know Fiji's not that close to you guys, but there's places I haven't been. Three main places I haven't been. Is my only trade NOIA? Yeah. Well, the rum will help loosen me up here a little bit, so I can kind of get into a groove a bit. I want to talk about Cardano tonight, and I want to give you guys a preview of what we got coming up Friday. The Friday session is going to be really cool. It's going to be something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I just didn't know how to do it. Hey, Brent. Awesome. Hey, welcome to CTM. Welcome to the late night live stream here. So my late nights are very casual, guys. I usually just get on a roll. I just get on some kind of soapbox and just start rolling. We look at charts. You guys tell me what you want to look at. We just go look at them. But I try to keep the late night crypto and rums totally casual. Talk a little bit about this, zero politics. We do zero politics here. No politics. I may occasionally smirk at a political comment or something, but that's about the extent of it. So we broke a really key level on Bitcoin. I want to talk about Cardano. I'm going to give you guys a preview Friday, but I do want to say this. I was looking for this break right here. The 51 looks like 51.7, and then this wick high right here, 52. We just broke that. That's huge. That means that we are going up. We're going up. It's going to be another good impulse up. 70K or so probably at least. We'll see. 53 just broke. We're about to get FOMO on some altcoins here. I was watching Aave. I may literally pause the stream and go put another order in on Aave. I don't think I have an active order. I wanted to see this right here, this 12 hour. I wanted to enter another position on Aave if we break that. Now we broke it here, and I did add some, and then it started to taper on me, but I only added a small piece. I did want to add a little bit more. I did break it there a second ago. I'm kind of at this point, I'd rather wait for this level up here, actually. So that's what, 116 on Cardano. So maybe I'll wait for that. Maybe we'll just see what happens as we go through this live stream and wait for 116 looks like a better spot for the resumption on that. That's a trade on Cardano. I've got a pretty tight stop on it for a trade. I've got it right here at exactly $1. It's 99 cents is where I put it, 99.82 or something. It's really tight stop. Just because it's been consolidating so much. If it goes down that far, it's going down. Right? It's going down to 80 something cents, and we'll be able to get another repick up our trades lower. So let's talk about a couple things. Friday, the session on Friday is going to be, we're going to go through, I did a Bitcoin, original Bitcoin full white paper walkthrough, and I think I kind of lost some people, maybe a bit too technical for really the gist of our channel, but I think it was valuable. I think people that want to view it, that are plugged in the CTM community, that want to hear, there's a million of those white paper breakdowns I found out kind of after I did it, that I went and looked at the internet. There's just a bunch of them. And people that have done it better than me for sure. But I did put the CTM kind of trading spin on it and stuff, so hopefully you guys found that valuable. So instead of going through a complete walkthrough of Vitalik's original paper on Ethereum, what I've done is I've highlighted a few key sections, and we're just going to do about maybe 15 minutes of explaining the original Vitalik white paper, kind of my thoughts about his vision for Ethereum, what it meant. And then Gavin Wood and Charles Hoskins and a few of the other critical co-founders, what they added, what their thoughts were. And then we're just going to talk about what smart contracts are. And we're going to focus on understanding the difference between what Bitcoin is and what things like Litecoin and Dash and Doge and these other projects are trying to be with, a currency. And secondarily, why you should, generally speaking, avoid those, or I think you should avoid those. I forgot my disclaimer. This is not I'm not your financial advisor. I do not know what I'm doing. I'm an idiot. If you listen to me, you'll end up living in a van down by the river. You have been warned. So if you just want to hang out and look at some charts, that's what we do here. We're just sharing ideas and looking at charts, and we're all losing money together. All right. So that's what we're going to do Friday. We're going to walk through, again, I'm not going to walk through the whole thing because it gets, Ethereum and smart contracts and the computational elements get very technical very fast. And I think for the audience that we have, I want to strike that balance between, the investment side of it and the technical side. So we're going to try to thread that as close as I can, be a little bit technical up front, then we'll get into what the vision is, and then talk about market potential and why Ethereum has historically outgained Bitcoin. Obviously, Ethereum's making a huge move here. I did have 2 nice big trades on Ethereum, fortunately, so I'm happy. My HODL position's still on. Look at that. Oh, man. Ethereum is going to do really, really good in the next couple months. I'm concerned about it after this market cycle, I'll be honest, but those were my targets. We took profit. I took maybe a little bit of profit coming into that trend line right there when it touched it. I think I did, but I took most of my profit at 1930 as I saw it coming off of here. Yeah, we saw it kind of test and then resume down. So I got out of my trades there, and I've been putting trades back on all through here. But these upper price levels are what we're looking at for the next leg up on altcoins, which is the FOMO phase. So this was kind of the conclusion of the rotation phase, I think. Toward the late February, and now we're in the FOMO phase. So 2,800 price target's probably pretty reasonable for Ethereum. I'm going to look at the comments now, but we're going to focus a lot on what makes Ethereum and Cardano and Polkadot different and special, and why people who are fans of Bitcoin should have no fear of these projects and should fully endorse and support them. And there is no reason not to hodl Ethereum, Cardano, and Polkadot. Like, there's no reason not to. There's not going to be a winner. We're going to talk about that and why that's the case, and why you guys will do very well holding all of these things that I have in green here. You will do well holding. Well, XLM is one of my more active. Oh, XLM just tripped I didn't put a trade on. Oh no, it just tripped. 12 hour. I was waiting for that. Hold on. I might have to. I can do it on my phone. I'm going to place an order on my phone right now. Y'all got to see. I'm literally going to place an order on my phone. This is not financial advice. Do not listen. I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm putting a trade on, a new order on XLM as we talk. Hold on 1 second. Stellar. It tripped. I didn't have an order in here already because I was busy and I was kind of watching the charts real close. But yeah, it's definitely time. It is definitely time. Let me place this order. Hold on. Oh. All right, almost done. I do all the security stuff. Oh, I didn't know some of these pairs are unavailable. That's interesting. Huh. Alright. Let's get that. Cool. Alright, I got that done. Alright. That tripped over that line I was watching. That's a 12-hour. That was my 12-hour entry. So, y'all saw me place a trade live through my phone. Now I get my phone set up to place new orders, and we just placed a trade right there. Alright, anyway. Beautiful, beautiful. What kind of rum? I've had Boombo XO. It's you can get it at Specs or at whatever your the large liquor stores that you have around wherever you're at. It's I think it's like $40. And it's a really good sipping rum for $40. All right. Can you take a look at the Pi cycle for Bitcoin? Yes, I can. I can look at it on TradingView, but there's that website that has all these really cool. Is it looking to Bitcoin? Yeah, it's looking to Bitcoin. There we go. Where are we at on the Pi cycle? We're not anywhere close to crossing. I know it looks like it, but the problem is you get really close and it sits like that for actually pretty long time as far as price action goes. So we're getting close to a cross though. And the other thing too to keep in mind is, I don't know. Can you guys see this okay? I don't know if I can zoom in on this. Yeah. Oh, hold on. I don't ever use this website, so I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it's getting relatively close. But look right here. So the last bull market, it looked like it was about that same distance away. You know, coming into, it closed the gap really close, coming like at $3,000, and it still went on a 20,000 before it actually crossed, right? And you were getting close all the way up to $5,000. Looked really, really close. 5, 6. And it took until that blow off top of 20 to actually cross. So it looks close, but it's not as close as it looks. If you really get into it here. All right. That's the Pi cycle top indicator. I haven't studied it enough to know if that's what I'm going to go off of. All right, take a look at. So Pi cycle. Hey, okay. Like button for no politics. I thought it said run. I'm sorry about that. No, don't run, buy. Well, I mean, maybe run for the buy button. How's my XLM trade doing? I just put on. We'll see. I don't know. It wasn't a big trade. It was a small position. Okay. Van Life is the best. BTC longs. What time Friday? Typically around 2 to 3 p.m. Central Time. I will. This time I'll schedule it, and I will. I'll schedule it, and I'll share the link at least Thursday. I'll put it on Twitter and maybe even our Discord chat, just so y'all have it in advance. But yeah, I finally was able to sit down and take some notes about how I wanted to structure that session. So I'm looking forward to it now that I think. Heath, this is not Heath's channel, this is Brandon's channel, but Heath is awesome. Heath, what is BTC's last chance to accumulate? Is there still a bearish case before the 70K? Hey Jack. Antonio, at this stage in the bull market, we have am I on log? Have I been on log view this whole time? Sorry guys, I must have been working on a log chart. At this stage in the bull market, it's just buy the dip. Buy all the 30% dips. I mean, look how much precision you would have had doing that. You just would have sat back in your recliner and relaxed and watched the charts, and you got a 30% dip here, buy, right? That would have been a great entry. And then you got really close to 30% dip here. This was a great buying opportunity. It was 25% off. And I expected when I called this sell-off, I called for a 20%. We ended up at 25%. I kind of knew it wasn't going to be a 30% sell-off. All right, but 20 to 30% sell-offs. That's what you do right now in this stage. Now the other thing you can do is you can look at this a 50-day moving average. Now I've given up on the 120-day moving average because the M2, the money supply and the float of dollars is going to break all the indicators. It's going to mess a lot of people up who are trying to trade Bitcoin this whole cycle too, because they're going to be looking at the 120 or the 21-week moving average or all these other indicators that crypto guys use, not accounting for the M2 money supply and the fact that assets are inflated because of that, which is going to break our charts. I mean, it's that simple. And you can there is a chart you can do Bitcoin M2. I think it's I forget the exact. It's like M2. Oh, money. Does anyone know the symbol I would need to do the Bitcoin to M2 money supply, M2 money stock? I think this is it right here. If I do this chart, enter. Yeah, this is Bitcoin adjusted, I think, for M2, which is a little bit better chart to use, and still the 120 is still broken on it. Look at that. I think this is Bitcoin adjusted for M2 money supply. I'm not sure if I'm getting that. Doesn't look right. This is some other M2. There's if anybody has it, look at the chat. My point is that the indicators are all going to be broken. Your RSI weekly, the weekly that we've been watching. I kind of started to realize that. I was like, oh wait, because of the money supply, all of these indicators are going to be elevated because it's just prices all out of whack on every instrument right now. So, like, this is a beautiful reset of the RSI. Last cycle we had here's the bull market cycle, right? All the peaks, and then the weekly RSI on the way up to the final peak. So it would get up to like 80 and cool off to 60, 50 or so. Well, because of the money supply, because assets prices have been so inflated, it kind of broke this. Now maybe the next dip will kind of correct for that. They quit printing at such a ridiculous volume, but we just had a $1.9 trillion stimulus. So everything's being inflated so much, these indicators are just going to be broken. It's something to consider. Just remember that. But to answer your question, you asked when's a good time to get in. Sell it, just buy the dips. I mean, literally, it's just buy the dips, and you can think about buy the dips, sell the rips. And if you can stay disciplined, when you look at a chart like this, and you go, okay, on a 3-day chart, there's like a bunch of green bars. That's a rip. Somewhere in here, just trim some, and then buy back 30%. It's easier said than done psychologically, but that's the answer, right? Is to buy the dips and sell the rips. And that's how you maximize just a really strong bullish asset or instrument of some type, any type. All right. Evening, Sate. No problem. I'm catching up. Robin, please don't just listen to everything I say. Just do your own research for sure, please. I mean, if you want to go buy the coins, I recommend buy a little bit of it and then go research them. But I don't recommend a lot of coins, I don't think. I mean, I only recommend a handful because it takes me a long time to research them and go, yeah, this is legit. It takes me a really long time to realize something's legit. What's up, DeFi Ant? Did anyone else get Pi Cycle Indicator on their Ethereum chart? It was on March 5th. Weird. Oh, did it cross on Ethereum? That is interesting. And it's still going up. Yeah, these indicators, that's the other thing too. The Pi Cycle is going to be broken, guys. Think about it. When you print 30%, all the numbers shoot up 30%, so our indicators are off by 30%, which drastically changes how the indicators work. I mean, that's just reality. So 30% of the price move or more is just asset inflation. That's what you're looking at. So the indicators are going to be broken. The Pi Cycle is going to cross long before the top. Just keep that in mind. It's going to be much trickier to get the top on this. The best way that I know to get the top reliably is to simply wait for it to form a clear reversal trend and buy the next dip, buy the next rip, right? So when you get the bear market, so like looking over here, the only way to get close to the top, if you look at the bear market, people will be impatient and panic and sell at the wrong time. But you look at this, right? You can kind of see a clear downtrend, right? So once we saw in the last bear market, once you see that you've clearly reversed and you're now in a downtrend, so what you start to see happening, you start to see lower highs being printed and lower lows coming in. You can clearly see this. So if you would have just been super patient and waited, instead of, this is the bear market. I'm sorry, guys, I'm looking at the wrong dang chart over here. Nonetheless, similar story. All right, so you see some type of real clear downtrend. All right, so you have this big parabolic blow off top. Now you should be on alert because you have this big parabolic, epic move last market cycle, right? And so we hit 19,000 something, and then you see it sell off just monstrously huge. That's bigger than a 30%. which is not what you would do. This is kind of your first indication you're in the bear market. So literally just wait for the bounce back, and when you make a higher low and lower high, and you get a resumption right around there. So if you would have been like this cycle, all of us have been buying in this area. This is where we're at right now. This cycle versus, you know, this is what's coming up for us. It's a big parabolic move, right? So if you buy all through here, if you were actually buying last cycle from 2,000 up to 5,000, say, and you missed selling at 19,000, right when the pie side, but you were patient and you saw this downtrend forming, and you waited until you got a clear rejection of a lower level, and you could probably find a horizontal on this too that would have worked. When you get that rejection, you would have sold at 16.3 or something, right? And you see the level there coming in, right? And you fall below that level, that's maybe when you should have gotten out. So if you were buying all through here, and a lot of us bought way back here, right, too. So, you know, you're still pretty close to the top, relatively speaking. Now, we want to get as close as possible. But the truth is, this market cycle is going to peak out way higher than anybody thinks, I think. I mean, my goal is 288. My goal, I might just flat get out, or I will start to exit. You know, if we make a strong run and we hit 288, I'm going to start pulling out my funds. I don't care what the chart looks like. But that's my number. I'll hold on to some. But anyway, all right. But yeah, indicators are the main takeaway. Indicators are going to be broken. There's a lot more money sloshing around. More money keeps being printed and pumped into the system. You know, things are going to look kind of crazy. And it's going to be hard to get the top. All right. So you're going to see the pie cycle cross long before the top. So that's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem for a lot of people. What about Uniswap? Uniswap chart is certainly bullish. Very bullish. It's going to be coming into resistance. This is the Uniswap to BTC. So you're going to have some resistance coming into this right there, obviously. The prior all-time high. See that resistance you came into right there? I mean, that was like as predictable as could get. I'm not trading Uniswap too much. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. It's getting awful hot in my son's room. I got to turn on his little heater. Sorry about that. That was weird. I just looked over and man, it was like 87 degrees in my son's room. He likes his room a little bit warmer than when he sleeps. So we have a little small heater. All right. That was something I don't normally have to do. All right, back to comments here. So Uniswap though looks great, super bullish. I mean, I don't hold it. I do trade it. I'm sorry. I said earlier I didn't trade it. Trade it, but I don't hold it. But the reason I don't hold, you see I was doing some fib work on it apparently at some point. How did my fib levels work out? How do you? I was doing some, so way back here in January, I was doing fib extension levels. Let's take a look at this. I mean, I probably plotted this long before this price action happened. Worked out pretty well. Gave me some good levels. Nonetheless, let me get out of that. You know, it's super bullish. The only problem, the reason I don't have a hodl bag, which maybe I'm missing the boat here, it's just the upside of a decentralized exchange. It's a race to zero for me, decentralized exchanges are. And they don't have nearly the upside a lot of these other projects that I'm more bullish on, that I have a lot more exposure to. But just the reason, you look at how much does a Fidelity or an E-Trade actually make off of their base trading platform. They used to make a lot more than they do now because the competition's increasing. They make money in different ways. But Uniswap, being a decentralized exchange, with all of the the competition coming online, Loopring and others, this layer 2 scaling, and then other projects, Cardano being able to support multi-asset natively on chain, it's going to cut any sort of middleman fees out, cut it to the bone. And it's really gonna kill like the Uniswaps of the world. I think a lot of people think, oh, this is the new finance, this is the new trading platform. Uniswap, they're gonna have to start like really. There's not a lot of market potential long term. So I'm not super bullish on it. I think it's like BNB and Uniswap are two very prime examples of they're relevant right now today, and they're getting the hype that they should today based on their actual usage compared to other protocols and other projects. But in 2 or 3 or 4 years, I think they're going to underperform. They're not going to go away. They're not going to collapse or anything like that. They're just going to underperform, I think. They're doing great right now. And this has been a beautiful trade. I mean, it's had some beautiful trade setups on it. I mean, just look at this. It's so many great setups. See that consolidation, breakout, and this little bit of consolidation here. Right, it's been like the bull flag there that was beautiful, giant bull flag there. I mean, it's just really good trading. But I kind of missed the boat. I've been so focused on my focus is the platform space, so Cardano and Ethereum, Polkadot. Oh, look at that! What is going on with Polkadot? But yeah, these platforms just have a lot more long-term upside, and so I feel safer having a larger exposure and position in those, because the moment that it comes out that Loopring is the ones that I have a kind of big exposure to. But the thing about Loopring is it's a layer 2 scaling and a decentralized exchange, and it's obviously been kind of underperforming here. And I have it for a macro reason, not for technical reasons. Currently, I mean, it was looking beautiful, then it's underperformed. But when Loopring starts to, when more and more Ethereum ERC20 tokens are available on Loopring, you can trade instantly, almost completely free on Loopring. That's going to really cut into what Uniswap's market potential. The other thing to keep in mind is that Loopring is at least a layer 2 scaling solution, so I get the benefit of having layer 2 scaling plus a decentralized exchange with Loopring, so that's my preferred play. Now Uniswap, technically speaking, has been killing it, so it's great. I use Uniswap. I'm a user of it more than I'm probably an investor in it, that's for sure. Because right now today, it's where you can go get. You see that support is coming right back. Perfect breakout retest coming right back into that level. That top peak right there lines up beautifully on the BTC chart. But yeah, I'm more of a user of it than I am a proponent of it. All right, let's take a look at comments. I listened to your ADA explanation video last night. I'll probably read the page and then watch the video again for a better breakdown. Cool. What's up, Brent? BNB is showing life. Vet's running. Yeah, Vet's one of my recommendations. Vet's been doing great. Talk about it a lot. It's a very obviously specific use case. And it's the leader in its space. I like those type of coins. Another one, Engine's been, oh my goodness, I took profit. I took profit here on most of my Engine, and I rotated. So rotated to the graph, which had a really good setup, and it's been lagging. I thought the graph was going to break out somewhere over here. That's why I rotated to it. I did buy some algo, which I've actually sold. I went ahead and got back out because I don't see it setting up. It's just not exciting to me. Yeah, my other SNX is not doing too hot. At least these are all like combined. These are like 2% of my portfolio. So yeah, I don't really pay too terribly much attention. I just buy stuff I like and ignore it for the most part. As far as trades go, man, Engine would have been a beautiful trade if I could trade that on Kraken, but it wasn't available. I do have a small hodl bag. At least took some profit there. All right. BNB is showing life. Okay, let's look at it's down here. BNB. Well, versus Bitcoin, it broke down. You see this wedge I have here? Versus Bitcoin, it broke down. Just look at that. Notice it broke down. What is Cardano versus... it's probably looking ugly. Yeah, it also broke down. So at least Cardano's got this long-term trend line it's going to come back into. That broke down on Cardano versus Bitcoin. And Cardano versus ETH, I guarantee, yeah, it was an ugly. I mean, it's ugly on one hand, but it's beautiful on the other hand, because I would love to buy the dip when we get down to that level and resume off. All right, let's take a look at some more comments. Cardano will reach. Let's see here. Jeffrey says, what price do you think Cardano will reach? I've consistently said about $10. That's my guess. Total guess, I don't know. I don't have any insider knowledge, or I can't see the future, so I don't know for certainty. It's just when I did the math on, basically what I did is I said, okay, if Bitcoin hits, say, 200,000 or 140,000 plus, whatever it hits, and if Bitcoin's cooling off, where's my ADA BTC chart? As Bitcoin's cool off post its peak, right? And we get another one of these inversions where altcoins go bananas. So if Cardano can make it back to the peak BTC valuation it had up here of like 8,500 Satoshis. Sorry, is my internet's acting up, huh? That's weird. I have like super fast internet now. I keep getting this alert that my internet's like. But yeah, if we make it up to here on the BTC chart, and Bitcoin's coming off. So say we hit 8,500 right around the time Bitcoin's a little above 100,000. So 8,500 Satoshis, I believe, at a $100,000 Bitcoin would be $8.50 Cardano. So if we can hit this peak, if Bitcoin makes it all the way up to like 288 and it's coming down, say 200, you know, that's over $10. Let's take a look at my comments here. Pretty heavy lag. That is not cool. Let me do a speed test over here. I just upgraded internet too. I have like the fastest I can possibly get. So that's not cool. I guess I'll mess with it later. I tweaked a few settings. Looks like lag is getting really bad. Thumbs up improves internet. So I just tweaked a few settings to try to, I lowered my audio. So anyway, I hope it looks like it's getting better. That is not, what is this widget? Analytics, all right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like I have gig internet, so that's probably an issue with either YouTube or my provider. Hey Doge, I hope you're doing well. I don't know if that's supposed to be hey dog. What are your thoughts on Adam? Sand, okay, I got a bunch of comments. Let's take a look at these comments. Vet is running. Engine looking good, yes. First time here. Lauren, thank you. No problem. No problem. Thank you for being here. I appreciate everybody being here. Could you please give your opinion on current phase of alt season? Are we between the rotation and FOMO phases? Yeah, I think we're between them. I think the FOMO phase, I'm undecided if the FOMO phase has already started. I need to do some more work on that. Maybe we can work on doing some measuring here in a little bit. But I think we're between phases right now. The thing keeps annoying me that my bit rate is dropping. I have like supposedly stellar internet. All right. Normally my internet doesn't give me problems. Get off my screen. How's it going, Leo? So yeah, I think we still have a lot of upside in alt season for this early phase, and then we'll get. It'll be a little while before Bitcoin sucks the life out of altcoins and they stagnate badly. Versus, I think we've got 2 or 3 months before that happens. FET and Sand. This project. My thoughts on Cosmos or Atom, ATOM. I think he's still been underperforming last I checked. Yeah. Look at the daily. I mean, he broke. We had a descending wedge here because he broke out. If I wasn't watching this, I totally missed this. Should probably pay more attention. Overall, the way that I put it is I use the analogy of like crypto is like discovering the new world, like the West, right? So Columbus, who was like the 5th person to discover the West, we got credit for it somehow. Nonetheless, the discovery of the West and the colonization of it is kind of like what's happening with crypto right now, right? So crypto is this whole new frontier, kind of like the internet was. And it's the Wild West. There's a ton of potential, but crypto itself is tiny. It's like when there was maybe 10,000 people in all of the colonies. So what was more valuable? You know, when there was 10,000, maybe growing to 100,000 people in all of the colonies combined, is to own all the trade routes between the colonies, or to own the trade routes between India, Africa, Europe, and the New World. So, you know, what we want to be focused on is projects that connect the real world, which is like is like India. Did my internet stream just die? Internet just died? Did the stream just die, everybody? What is going on? It went to 0 on me. Let me close some stuff here. I don't know why it went to 0 on me. Open this. Did y'all have problems on the stream? No lag in audio. All right, going back to my analogy though, right? So I think of Chainlink and these other projects as owning the trade routes between the legacy world, legacy finance world, and this new world of crypto. And so Cosmos is trying to interconnect all of the, the world of the new, of crypto, all the separate cryptocurrencies. And there's 2 problems with it. One is it's trying to interconnect a much, much smaller market than the outside world into crypto and back out, which is what Chainlink and like API 3 do. No, I don't think it's my PC. My PC is pretty stout. Let me just take a look here. No, my PC is fine. And this is my provider. Either that or it's YouTube. I'm not sure. They don't want you dropping knowledge. But yeah, so the problem is it's a very small market overall that Cosmos is playing in. And the other problem with it is that there are better ways of doing it. Like, so the major projects like Polkadot and Cardano specifically are heavily focused on native interoperability. So they are going to build bridges of their own. Now, Cosmos will be important for really small, like niche blockchains. So they will have a market, but they'll be serving smaller projects trying to connect into bigger projects, basically. So these really small projects that are trying to communicate with Bitcoin and Cardano and Polkadot. So there's a use case there, but it's a small use case because the big projects, Polkadot already has this native interoperability, and Cardano's very focused on building a lot of interoperability with other chains. So I think they're just going to bypass the middleman. Ultimately, in the world of crypto, we're going to bypass the middlemen and just go build straight interoperability. So that's my issue with Cosmos. I just don't know long term what its market potential is. How much value it adds to crypto. And I also think that the graph is a far more efficient way of doing what Cosmos is trying to do. That's my other problem with it. I guess it's 3 problems. The market potential really isn't that big right now, today anyway. It will be big in the future. But in the future, I think big projects are going to build a lot of native interoperability. And thirdly, the graph is far more efficient at doing the same thing. So those are my multitude of kind of concerns I have with Cosmos. So I've never really gotten big on Cosmos because of all those reasons. Get rid of that line. All right. Stop running LimeWire. Yeah, just stop illegally downloading while I'm streaming, huh? Probably a good idea. All right, take a look at comments here. Sorry about all the issues with the lag. I don't know what's going on. So those are my thoughts on Atom. You think comp is looking a bit bearish now? I never took an entry on comp or anything, so I haven't been watching it. You're in, I mean, as Jordan would say, this is very much no man's land, I think. It's very no man's landish. Yeah, you're broken down below. This is the Bitcoin chart. Hold on. The USD chart looks looking fine still. So you broke this kind of, what I have is kind of like a very, very large, bull flag on the daily or the 12-hour. You broke up out of this little descending. I mean, really, you might want some more conviction on this, but you might be forming a downtrend channel. But I think I would call this a breakout and a bull flag just because of where we're at with crypto in general. And Compound is a strong DeFi name. DeFi is a little bit lagging, right? But in general, where's the DeFi perp? Oh, I guess DeFi picked back up. DeFi is doing fine. All right, so DeFi is doing fine. I haven't looked at the DeFi chart in a bit, actually. Comp BTC is looking a little bit weak, but maybe coming into some support here, maybe. I think, yeah. You can draw. What do I like this support at? I don't know. I don't have a high level of conviction on Compound here. Yeah, I mean, Comp USD looked okay to me. So I think the takeaway of this is Comp USD is going to, the incoming tide on Bitcoin is going to raise all boats, and the incoming tide on DeFi is going to raise Compound. So Compound will probably actually perform okay. I would expect it probably to go ahead and break up here, but underperform other names. So, yeah, I mean, in that case, if it's going to underperform, yes, it does look bad to me. Because it does look like, based on the BTC chart, it's going to underperform. For at least a little bit. It could surprise us. But technically speaking, it's kind of a no man's land. It's failed. This breakout's been a failure, basically. That's what it looks like. When you get below this swing high right here, your breakout's a failure. After all the price action had. So that's my opinion. Yeah, I would agree. RUM and Crypto, my new favorite channel. Hey, Clay. Well, thank you for reminding me to sip my rum. If it was that easy to have your favorite channel, man, you're easily impressed. But thank you for being here. I appreciate you hanging out with us. What are my expectations for GRT? This is my Bitcoin chart. I have no idea what GRT is on the USD chart, just to be honest with you. And I think when people ask for price expectations, so I mean, most altcoins that are quality projects, and the graph is certainly a quality project, well, at least, 5x or so, so maybe $10 from where it's at, $1.95. Yeah, it should 5x from here toward the end of alt season. It really just depends on a lot of things. It depends on how well the project executes. This is a beautiful consolidation pattern on the graph on the USD chart. I haven't looked at it. So all these small projects, I mean, I buy these with either Ether or Bitcoin, and I tuck them away in a offline wallet and don't ever look at them. So I don't know what they're doing most of the time. But you can see, it depends on how you draw this. You might have had a little bit of a breakout there, but I would draw it up here. It's my pattern. You could also, yeah, I mean, there's two ways to draw this for me. Is take these two outer touches this way, and you've broken that super strong, wedge pattern. So it's a wedge. A lot of times you'll notice I don't draw the bottom just because I kind of assume people understand where I'm going with this, but I will draw this for you guys. So it's, you can draw this a million ways, but what I do is okay, there's a bunch of touches that line up, so I'm going to take it to the outer two, knowing that it could follow a tighter pattern up top. If you get what I'm saying, I could, whatever. Nonetheless, what I prefer doing on this one, if you're going to look to trade it, is to draw it like that and wait for it to get outside of that, and then you have a good entry. But fundamentally speaking, the project, macro thesis-wise, this is a great project, huge potential. I think it's a more efficient way of doing what Cosmos was trying to do. So, obviously I had a bunch of stuff on here. So yeah, it's just a good project. So, I think it could 5x from here if it executes well for the remainder of the bull market. All right, that's just a total guess. Again, this is not financial advice. Van by the river. What do you think? Do you think BTC has topped out for now? I think it already topped out. I was wrong. Something I was clearly wrong about. I thought in the FOMO phase. Well, maybe I'm still right. We'll see. The FOMO phase really goes bananas more than any of us think. Zoom out. Okay. So, here's my. I was looking for this the other day. I had to zoom out enough to get to it. Here's my phases. Yeah. So we've clearly switched the FOMO phase. This is the ETH BTC chart, right? And I thought that we would hit in the FOMO phase. I thought we might make it all the way up into this shaded area, and then get it to one of these higher levels in the post BTC sell-off phase. I've come to the realization that two things: we're probably not going to get here in the FOMO phase because I underestimated how much the market was going to catch on, or I also underestimated gas fees. I didn't think gas fees are going to be as crazy high as they have been, frankly. Since I drew this and started talking about that, like in December, gas fees have gone absolutely bananas, and the market has picked up on that. And so that's why you see Cardano and Polkadot doing as well as they have, is because the market's concerned about Ethereum and the gas fees. And so I think it's underperforming. But I had this broadening wedge. I adjusted it on the chart, my live stream. I think was that live just last night. So I have this broadening wedge on ETH BTC. So I think we can make it back to the top of this broadening kind of, they call it megaphone pattern, I believe. So this kind of megaphone pattern, I think we can make it back to the top of this megaphone pattern. We'll just see. So this is a good place to look at like 5.5 level or so. I do think the FOMO phase can take us back there. So this was the rotation phase, and I do think the FOMO phase can maybe get us back there. And then we'll see. I mean, things can go absolutely crazy. I don't expect that at this point. I think this shaded box area is more of a post-Bitcoin sell-off, the post-BTC moon phase thing at this point. Just because I think the market's caught on to Ethereum is having some issues with the gas fees and scaling, and competitors are coming along strong, and ETH has to rely on layer 2 scaling solutions, and so if they're having to rely on layer 2 scaling solutions, that's where a lot of the investment, that's where a lot of the interest is going to go. So, long way of saying no. I think we might make it a little bit higher on that ETH BTC chart. All right, we have a lot of comments here. Good now. Thank you for the. I love the GRT project and got in at 11 cents. Awesome, DeFi. Good job. Well, what is it again? I have no clue. I buy these things in Satoshis, so I don't know what on earth it is on the dollar. It's $1.95. 11 cents. That's really good. Good job. All right. Comp was flexing on everyone the other day. Aave has been on moving there. So Aave is moving again. Let's take a look at Aave. Oh yeah, Aave's been kind of consolidating. Yeah, Aave had this big, huge move, and then it's been consolidating nicely. Aave's looking good versus the Bitcoin chart. Now, I bet if you drew this versus the dollar or some other fiat, the euro or something, this would look pretty good too. I'm just gonna move this up right here. Those two bodies right there, those candles. Yeah, it looks good. Looks good. I think Aave's maybe primed for another little move here. All right. Can you look at Theta, please? Yeah, I can. I looked at it last night. We'll look at it again today here. Theta. Man, I'm clearly wrong. The market likes it more than I thought. I need to research this project better than I have been. I have this notion that marrying a blockchain with a decentralized video streaming is just not, technically speaking, like from a technology perspective, not technical analysis, but from a technology perspective, it's not it doesn't make any sense. It's not a good marriage, but there's obviously something I'm missing. I need to go research. So I will go try to do some work on Theta and figure out why it is that what I was wrong about. There's obviously something I'm missing. Go away. Theta is so bullish. I mean, I wouldn't buy it. This is take profit zone for sure. It's just trim a little bit of your position and look to buy back if you ever get an ensuing dip. And if not, just hold the rest. That's what I would do. I bet you come back down to that level right there. And then maybe even this level. Let's make that white. This is what I call Heath levels. So yeah, you'll probably come down to one of these two levels for a retest. There's your uptrend on the Theta USD. Beautiful channel. I mean, you can draw this as a channel. Again, a lot of times I just see this in my head and I don't explicitly put this stuff. Plus, TradingView likes to be retarded on me. So I don't put this on that chart a lot. But I will. Hold on. You get the idea. It's probably a channel here forming. Broke out of the top end of that channel. These channel breakouts are usually really nice big breakouts, and that's when you want to take profit. You want to take the entry on the breakout and take profit, you know, when it's measured from bottom up about 30% or so. It's right at 30%. Perfect time. It takes a little bit of profit off the table. So that's typically in crypto. What I see a lot is when you get these just breakouts of all types. Around 30% is a good place to look. So like this would have been your entry, right? So I'm on the 12-hour. The daily had a beautiful entry. You could have placed an entry down here in that 420 range or so. But so this was your clear breakout retest resumption, and you would have probably wanted to place an entry down here when you took out that bottom wick right there. That would have been right around 420. Yeah. A 30% move off of that's a good place to look to take profit when you get these breakouts like that. And that's, well, so from the time of your entry, it's only 25%, so you might hold out for a little bit more. But from the bottom of this wick, that's a 38% impulse, 36% impulse. Good time to shave a little bit and hope to buy back some later. And if it keeps running, it keeps running. Keep some on. That's what I would do. All right. Back to comments. Thoughts on interest-bearing Voyager or BlockFi? I haven't looked into Voyager enough. The only one, Celsius is another one I've looked into. The only one I trust the security on is BlockFi. The problem with all the other interest-bearing, unless you're staking, like if you do staking, that's great. Sure, you know, keep your keys offline. Self-custody staking is the best by far. But ones where you put, you know, you leave your keys on the exchange, you don't actually hold the keys yourself. The only one that I trust the security on is BlockFi. They use Gemini's cold storage, and they have solid HSM, multi-sig, and a bunch of other mechanisms. They've got insurance on it too for what they keep hot on the exchange. So I feel a little bit better about BlockFi. I certainly wouldn't put all of your crypto on BlockFi though. You know. The way that I kind of think about it is maybe put a third, and if you find one that you trust outside of BlockFi as far as the security, maybe put a third of your funds there to generate some returns. Put a third on cold storage and a third on exchanges for trading, and that's at most. You know, I would prefer a half on cold storage and maybe a quarter and a quarter. Probably a better way to look at it. It's just. That's how I would do it. I mean, I don't know what my percentages are. It's probably 60% cold storage and what would that be? 20-20? Maybe 20% on that. It's probably actually what I have. It's like 60% in cold storage, 20% on exchanges for trading, and 20% on BlockFi just collecting some interest. All right. Do you consider volume when buying crypto? No, I don't, Brent, because the problem with volume is it's hard to get a good volume reading because you know it's literally decentralized, right? But all the different exchanges all have different volume metrics, so you can look at volume on Coinbase or Binance, but the other problem is in short intervals, a lot of that volume is arbitrage, and so it's really hard to gauge what true volume is, true buying. So I prefer to look at on-chain metrics. So that's my way of gauging volume in crypto is looking at on-chain metrics. If that makes sense. I looked at Theta. All right, Tanner, you get some. Tanner, I asked last night. You didn't answer. Maybe I didn't see the answer. You might have answered. What scotch are you drinking? Are you drinking your Buffalo Trace? Is that scotch? Wait, hold on. Is Buffalo Trace scotch? Trace whiskey. Okay, it's a whiskey. Bourbon. It's a States-made thing. So you're drinking real Scotch, Tanner? TM. All right. Fet Sand views on Avalanche. Monkey shoulder. Monkey shoulder. Shoulder Scotch. Let's take a look at that. Monkey shoulder Scotch. Looks pretty nice. I'll have to go check it out later. All right. So, no problem, Brent. Somebody asked another question here I was going to answer. Views on Avalanche. Did I answer that last night? I talked about Avalanche last night, didn't I? Or no, I've talked about it before. Hold on. I've talked about AVAX before. I had... I can't remember my, I just don't remember my talking points on this. Look at the white paper real fast. That's going to take too long to go through that. 1 second. I'm going to show you how I research stuff. Open source with launching highly decentralized. So that's right, it's an incubator. Avalanche is a DeFi incubator, or a DApp incubator, really. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's a decent project. And there are down 30 on the list. They've been losing a little bit of steam here. AVAX USD. I think it's good. The problem is how much upside does an incubator have? And I don't know. It's obviously consolidated. The chart looks like you have some potential here because you've got this clear kind of consolidation going on here. You're sitting on support. You've tested and held support a gajillion times. You know, a solid resumption off of here. You're going to want to make sure that find a really good level to clear. There you go. That's pretty good right there. Take a look at that. You know, connect those two. A resumption, your level that you're looking at here for a good possible entry is above this level right here. So you can take a breakout entry on that. I would wait for it to get above it, retest, and resume. We could give you a resumption signal off of 27.18 I've got on my chart. This is looking at, let's look at the daily. Let's go to the daily real fast. I'll give you some better numbers. The daily close and open will be better. All right. Yeah, so above 26.30.73, you can take a resumption trade above that. That's going to be an iffy one. I mean, it's obviously been false breakouts before. I would wait for a breakout of this level, come back into it, and then take a resumption off of 26.73 for a trade on AVAX. But yeah, I think the project's fine. I'm not super excited about it just because incubators and things like that, unless the incubator retains some stickiness. So an example would be if the incubator is also the layer 1 platform that the crypto is going to run on. So the best example of that is Polkadot and Kusama. Kusama is a great incubator of all kinds of awesome projects. And if you build on Kusama and you use Substrate, you're going to stick on Polkadot. And you know, if you start out on Kusama and you just really blow it up and you're doing great and you get selected for a parachain slot on the mainnet, Polkadot, you know, that means your project has huge merit, and you're also going to stay on because you built with all the native tools. You're not going to move or build your own chain. You're going to stay on Polkadot. So there's a lot of stickiness. That's why Polkadot is so fantastic. Now AVAX, I haven't looked into it enough to know if there's any sort of stickiness. For the you know, once the project goes live, you know, how much does the incubator benefit if it really blows up big? I don't know that, so that's why I'm not too terribly bullish on it, because I don't think that there's a lot of stickiness there. I don't think there's a lot of long-term you know, benefit. It's just an incubator. Monkey shoulder. We drink monkey shoulder. It's fantastic. Cool. OXT. Yeah, OXT is cool. They have like their nano payment channels. It's kind of a cool thing. Let's see here. It's beat down. This is my BTC chart on OXT. You know, Heath and I took some trades on it. This little breakout over here. Played that pretty well. He's the one that brought this to my attention originally, actually. Well, I'd heard about it before he brought the trade to my attention. You can see it's kind of sitting on some support right there. It's coiling up for a potential. There's a lot. I mean, You can go look at a million altcoins right now and see the same general pattern. We just looked at the same exact thing on AVAX. It's a very similar thing here. If you go to your daily, you find your kind of, this one's a little bit tougher. This one's a lot tougher. That's not going to even work. It's sitting on support though. So what you want to do is find the last bullish impulse, which is this one right here, where it topped out and the market reversed and it came in. You see it kind of also, it looks like it at that level right there. That's the last bullish impulse. This thing tried and failed to break back out on the Bitcoin chart. So that's the level I'd be watching. If it breaks that, what's this, 100 Satoshis, probably missing a 0. That level right there, it's 10. It shows it's 10 on my chart, but I think it's 100 Satoshis. If it breaks that level, come back in and test it and resumes off of it, you can look to try to bottom fish here, but you got some work to do to repair the damage. This has been just a bad downtrend. Obviously, I at one point I was watching it here for a breakout. I didn't take this trade. I probably just one that I missed. It would have been a beautiful trade because that was a really nice downtrend consolidation. Come back in and touch that and resume off of that. I wasn't in this at all, but that would have been a nice couple of trades there. But yeah, you'll have another one coming up potentially. We'll see if it breaks here. Now OXT on USD, it looks a little better. You see this level right here, that peak? That's a simple, very clear historic level to watch. And you've been interacting with that. You broke through it, come back into that, retest, and resume off of that. Sounds reasonable. At this point, though, the other thing I'd look at, as you can kind of see, these 2 points. You could wait for that to break out of that. Might be the safer thing to do. Otherwise, on the daily again, our last bullish impulse was this one, so you don't have a lot to work on, honestly. I mean, you'd be really bottom. This is what I would call bottom fishing. You're just kind of, this is lower probability. These are, I'm going to move this down based on what I'm seeing. See these bodies here? I'm going to move that level down. This is what I call bottom fishing. You're just trying to catch at the bottom here. Now this is probably a fair level. Are we in an uptrend? The problem is we're just so sideways. This whole chart is sideways. So there's no clear trend. It's a pump and dump over and over and over again. And you've had a couple of breakouts. This is just tough to play. I mean, you need to get above this blue line, really, honestly. You can try to take this entry that's coming up right now, probably on 12-hour, 8 or 4. You probably see it too. You can take this next entry whenever you finish printing this bearish candle and take that level out and try to, and just, that's a decent trade setup. And that's what if your stop loss would be down here. I wouldn't put your stop loss underneath. That would just be, you just get wicked out for sure. And your take profit 65. That's a good 2-to-1 maybe trade. But it's the probability of working out is less than 50%, I'd say. It's probably higher than 50% because Bitcoin's bullish and crypto's bullish. You have that tailwind behind you, so there's that. But pure technically speaking, it's a 2-to-1 trade with about a 40% chance of working out. So it's probably worth looking at. I won't take the trade on. I've got too many other trades on. I'll need to mess with. All right. Buffalo Trace is bourbon. Yeah, bourbon. Yeah, no. TM told me he used to drink Buffalo. Buffalo Trace is great. Local store is always out of it. My bourbon currently is 4 Roses. Buffalo Trace is like Ada. Good and cheap. I can't highlight comments on my screen, but I would have highlighted that one for sure, Jack. That was awesome. I'm just reading comments about alcohol now. Monkey Shoulder was a crypto. I thought Monkey Shoulder was a crypto play for a second. Sorry, Brent. What percentage of your initial investment do you sell when you're taking profits? Have a hard time knowing. Yeah, it's not financial advice. Thank you, Safi. It depends on the project, how large my position is. It depends on a lot of factors. Normally, it's about 30%. Sometimes it's 50%. So I would say it's either 30 or 50, depending on the size of the position, depending on how big the move was, and a bunch of other factors. So somewhere in that range. a third to a half, basically. A lot of times what I do is if it's a big enough move, I just take my initial investment off. Like I'll show you one that I did that. It's just a clear example of one. Yeah, VXV. I was talking about VXV. And before we had this chart, this wrapped ether chart. This is nice that we have one now. But we were talking about this before there was even a chart on TradingView. But we bought way below where we're at right now. Like on this Ethereum chart, it was like down here. But when it spiked up here, Alan and I took our initial trade. I might have been a little bit earlier than the very peak, but somewhere in this range. After a big move, I took my entire initial position on. So now all I have is, so I've got my initial investment back out. So it's just house money at this point. I just left the rest of the trade on. I did buy back. I think I actually took out in 2 stages. I took out my initial investment, and then it kept going up. So I took out like another third, and I bought back that third, lower. So I think when I took out my initial investment, that was taking about 30% off the table because it had like tripled. It might have like 5x'd on us. I forget what it was at the time I took my initial out. And then I think I took 50% off. When I took profit, it was 50% off the table. So I had taken my initial position out plus some profit. And then I bought back with the profit I had, I bought back in. So I now have more VXV than I started with, and my initial investment's off the table. So that's a good way to, take your initial investment off the table is another good way to think about it. Depending on how big the move was. You said yesterday that DOT was more of a second half 2021 coin. Did I hear that right? No, I think DOT. I kind of been thinking DOT's the other way around. I thought DOT was getting all the love early, and I thought it would lag a little bit in the second half. Now, probably wrong on that, but that was back when Cardano was down. Like when DOT was making all the moves and Cardano was like consolidating here on 30 cents. I was saying that, and I was really referencing versus Cardano. I thought Cardano would get more love later in the cycle, because Cardano's got the full, Mary's hard fork just went live, and then Goggon's going live later this year in a few months, which is the smart contract, the computational layer, the full smart contract capability. But then obviously coming into Mary's hard fork, Cardano is significantly caught up. So at this point, I still think Cardano will have a stronger end of the year than Polkadot. I think Link is the other one everybody's sleeping on. Link is going to be just it. I don't know when it's going to happen. Something's going to happen, and Link will probably move monstrously. That's just my opinion, but just from a macro perspective, the upside of Link is humongous. Now it does not have the upside of Cardano or Polkadot in the long run. It does not. So I can see why it's lagging. It makes sense that it's lagging, but for right now, here and now, today, it has more market potential than Polkadot does, just today. So we'll see if it ever catches up. I mean, I think if you look at the coin market cap, Cardano obviously had made it up to 30 here. BNB took back the third spot. Cardano was up there. So Cardano, but all my pet projects, Cardano, Polkadot, and Chainlink's down here at 10. I still think Chainlink leapfrogs a bunch of these other projects and makes it up to top 5 or 6 by the end of, when it's all said and done by the end of the year. Now in like 2024, well, Chainlink top 5 probably not, maybe top 10 at that point, because there's a bunch of other projects that should firm up here. Like I can even see projects like Loopring overtaking. That's be a bit of a stretch for Loopring to overtake Link. Synthetics, I can see Synthetics taking out Link maybe. Looking at projects here that I think could take out Link. Not many. I mean, yeah, Link. I think Link should be top 10 for sure, long term. But Polkadot, I mean, I don't know. The market seems to really like it. It has a ton of potential. I mean, the upside of Polkadot. Okay, right now it has a $33 billion market cap. I kid you not. I say this with as straight face as I can. The upside of Polkadot is $1 quadrillion. There's no joke. The upside of Cardano is $1 quadrillion. The upside of Ethereum is $1 quadrillion, and the upside of Bitcoin is $1 quadrillion. Like literally, no joke. That's the upside of these projects. Now, Chainlink's upside is probably 100 billion, so much more, maybe 300 billion or something. It's way bigger than it is today, but that's like the most I could ever see something like its space getting. It's still a huge move. It's still a 10x from here maybe. All right, back to comments. Now, they're not going to hit $1 quadrillion in 2021. That's like a 2028 thing or 2032 thing. Do you think Ethereum is dead and that it won't rise anymore? No, I don't. AVAX has been popping. Looks like a competitor to SNX. Every time I see AVAX, I think of Ajax. When I was a kid, Ajax. Yeah, we talked about AVAX already. Yeah, is it a competitor to? I mean, it's. I don't think it was a. What would you say? It's a competitor to SNX? I don't think so. I think AVAX is more of a. Now, unless I'm missing something, then tell me if I'm missing something. AVAX is more of an incubator where SNX enables synthetic. So SNX is all about the synthetic assets or derivatives, the derivatives market. So let's go over here. I'll show you DeFi Pulse. I don't think AVAX is on this list. Last I checked. DeFi Pulse. All right. So if we go to derivatives, right? Synthetics is the #1 derivatives player, and it's all about derivatives, right? So it's synthetic assets, synthetic. And my camera's like all the way up. I'm sorry, guys. Synthetic assets. So synthetics and derivatives market. I don't see AVAX on this list anywhere. So I don't think it's a competitor in any way, shape, or form. AVAX is a. I don't think it's even on this DeFi list anywhere. Let's just look if AVAX is even on this. Oh man, my son just woke up. What's the matter, Bubba? He had a bad dream. He just went to sleep right before I did this. So, yeah, AVAX isn't even probably considered DeFi. I don't think it is. So yeah, it's not. SNX and AVAX are not competitors. All right, moving on. Let's see here. No trolling, but can anyone offer fundamentally legit reason why LTC isn't much closer to a quarter of the value of BTC? Clearly it isn't, but I found the reason other than BTC is better. So, Narwhal Tacos. Litecoin is useless. It should be 0. Sorry. That's the truth. The reason Litecoin isn't anywhere near Bitcoin, and it shouldn't be, is because there's only there's one reserve currency in crypto. So Bitcoin is its market cap is justified by the fact that it's the reserve currency for all things cryptocurrency. Now, what's getting all the hype, and the reason it's in a big bull market this time, is it's getting consideration as a gold 2.0, as a hedge against inflation, as a store of value. Its network is vastly larger than anything else, and this is a winner-takes-all dynamic when it comes to this space. So if you look at, Google or Facebook or anything online, the internet, it's generally speaking pretty much a winner-takes-all, and there's scraps left for others. And Bitcoin is no exception. So it's the reserve currency of all things crypto, so that gives it a large value. And it's gold, now considered gold 2.0 with companies putting it on their balance sheet. Its network and hashing rate is far superior to anything else. It's the OG crypto, yada yada yada. So beyond that, people will say, well, Litecoin it's all Litecoin is. It's a fork and / modification of Bitcoin. All it is the same general thing that Bitcoin is, a proof of work consensus mechanism network, but it's a stripped down version of it, more lightweight, made for payments. So Bitcoin used to do 3 transactions per second. After SegWit, or segregated witness, when they took a piece of what used to be in the block and separated it so that the blocks could be more efficient. Now, after SegWit, Bitcoin can do about 7 transactions per second. Litecoin, I think, can do about 15. The reality is the difference between 7 and 15 transactions per second it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant when you're talking about Bitcoin. It's a store of value. It's not something you make transactions with. And if you want then further to use it as transactions, there's layer 2 scaling solutions like wrapped Bitcoin, like the Lightning Network, like wrapped Bitcoin, like synthetic derivative assets on faster networks like Algorand or Cardano. So at the end of the day, if you want to use if you want to use a cryptocurrency as a currency, Bitcoin also works. Bitcoin can scale to 1 million transactions per second, like literally today, because you can use it as, or you can wrap it on a bunch of other layer ones, and then the Lightning Network is very fast, and so it makes anything else that's trying to be a payment system or a store of value completely irrelevant, right? They're not relevant. There's no relevance for Dash, which is another competitor. Litecoin, Doge, they have no relevance long term. Now, frankly, Doge might end up beating out Litecoin just because it has a massive following. And what gives these projects value is the people that follow them, the people that believe in them. So if enough, Gen, whatever the new Z or whatever is after millennials, just really love Dogecoin and they continue to support it, it might have some value because of that. But at the end of the day, though, Bitcoin is the core reserve asset, and there's a million reasons why Bitcoin is superior to all the others, and it's mostly a network effect and scale of hash rate, and it's got the incumbent status. So there's a lot of reasons, and because of all those reasons, anything else that's trying to be a lightweight version of Bitcoin is useless. So Litecoin needs to just go away. All right. Sorry for Narwhal Tacos being kind of brutal on that, but that's my opinion. When is a good place to buy more positions on BTC? A 30% sell-off. At this point, I added on a trade right here at 50,949 or something like that. So say 51,000. I added on my trade right there because that was a trade setup. Buying it for a long-term hold position, just if you're accumulating. You see this trend line I have here? Whenever it touches that parabolic trend line, 30% sell-off, however you want to look at that, or 20+% sell-off. That was a 30%. Beautiful buying opportunity right there. And this ended up being, I called for a 20, ended up being a 26. Still a good opportunity. It touched that trend line. Well, actually, we formed that trend line because of that. I created those trend lines maybe because of these bottom touches. That might not have been fair to say that came into that trend line. But 30% sell-off is a good place to add. All right, 20%. Hey, Christopher, you're welcome. Thank you for the compliment. Says the stream is very genuine. He appreciates the lack of showboating for tips. I turned off monetization, by the way. I don't know if y'all noticed that. So you can't even give me tips because I don't want people paying me for my opinion, and that's not the point of this channel. The point of this channel is to help people, so I've turned off monetization because I'm not here to make money off you guys. I'm here to just share. All right. Highland Park after losing a trade. I like Litecoin. I'm not a prophet, but I want to see what happens when all the Bitcoin is mined up and bought. So Vincent, that won't happen until like 100 years from now or something, when Bitcoin's all mined out. And when Bitcoin's completely mined out, then the miners will by then probably making, before when the last halving happens and you're getting a fraction of a Bitcoin for your miner reward, the miner's going to be making 100 times or 10 times as much, I don't know, off of the transaction fees than the rewards. So the transaction fees are going to more than pay the miners. Starting in the next 4 to 8 years, transaction fees will probably surpass the miner reward for the block reward. So just keep that in mind. I don't think it's going to be any problem whatsoever. Oh man, yes, this does some good stuff. I can't even pronounce it, but it's good. That's my favorite scotch, or whiskey, I guess is technically. This is my favorite, whatever this brand is, the Japanese one. All right, I have a pi cycle plotted on TradeView. There's roughly a 1.8K difference between the lines. Again, I think the pi cycle is going to be broken, this model, just this time because of the money and the asset inflation. My thesis is that in a couple years from or so, BTC would be effectively an institutional asset forcing retail to LTC psychologically. Hey, Narwhal, hey, you know what? I appreciate you sharing that thought, and that is fair. The problem is if Bitcoin is an institutional grade thing, there's still 100 million satoshis per Bitcoin. So the average retail is just going to start thinking in satoshis. When a satoshi is 10 cents or whatever, that's a $10 million Bitcoin, which is insane. A satoshi will be 10 cents. So will it really be any big deal to own? With inflation, 10 cents is going to be a lot less than 10 cents even today. But so you own a couple thousand satoshis. People are just going to think differently. They're going to think in satoshis and not in Bitcoin. Oh yeah, is it Hakashu? So Yamasaki is the less expensive one. Hakashu is like crazy expensive, isn't it? Like a couple $1,000s. Oh, Hakashu 12 is only $200. I thought it was. What's the one that costs like $3,000? That's the Japanese one, not the. What's the one that does cost like forgetting. Anyway, what's the best non-fee exchange? Loopring. Link is pumping with ETH. Oh, is that what's happening? Yeah, that makes sense. So Ethereum, I've got way too many lines in this Ethereum chart, but it's looking good, isn't it? Above 1800 again. This is what we got to look forward to on Ethereum. Those lines up there. It's coming. Link can be bought on Coinbase though. Free base link. Perlin is competing with SNX. Perlin is on AVX. Oh. Cool, thank you, Sate. I didn't know that. Satye. That's how you say it. So, hold on. Let's go look at AVAX one more time. So, is AVAX have its own chain? Maybe I missed that piece. And new interoperable blockchains. So is it like a developer? My thought was this is kind of like a developer platform for blockchains, right? So they have. You know what? If they have their own, if it's a full developer, what's the word I'm looking for? Developer toolkit. For blockchains, then I have missed something on it. I thought it was just literally an incubation platform, and I thought it was just on. Well, did it start out as an ERC20 token? Maybe that's what I missed. Did they initially launch as an ERC20 token? Now they have their own chain? So if AVAX is its own chain, it changes things. So then AVAX is like a different way of doing what Polkadot's doing. So that would be significantly different. Avalanche is a proof of stake protocol, so it is its own chain. How did I miss that? Well, I will go read up on this. Thank you guys for bringing this to my attention. I've been seeing a lot of news about it. I'm going to add it to my whatever. I don't know what that was giving me, but I'll go do some research on it. $3 billion market cap. I need to understand what the actual underlying technology for the chain is. I think for some reason, I had this in my head that this was on Ethereum for some. It's obviously not. It's not on Ethereum. It's its own chain. And it's like an SDK, so it's much more than just an incubator. Well, there you go. I learned more than you guys do, that's for sure. And Doge is a fork of Litecoin. Yes, Jack, Doge is a fork of Litecoin with a puppy dog. All Doges is a puppy dog Litecoin. Which I like puppy dogs, so there's that. Perlin is competing. Yeah, okay. What are your thoughts on Nano? A lot of supporters on our cryptocurrency. Nano. I don't have any thoughts on Nano. Let me see if I can give you some thoughts real fast. Have I looked at Nano before? I lose track of all these projects. Just a platform guy. 82. Build as digital money for the modern and lightweight cryptocurrency design to facilitate secure, practically instant payments without fees. It's just another lightweight cryptocurrency. All right. Is it POW? No. It's not POW. POW based. I don't have any thoughts on it. Oh, is Nano a non-blockchain? Is it like one of these graph-based cryptos, or is it Nano payment, like payment channel? I'll read up on it. I don't. Oh yeah, here we go. Nano is instead built around a similar ledger technology called a directed acyclic graph. It's a DAG. Yeah, it's a graph based. All right, here's the problem. As soon as I saw down here that another DAG, I was a big proponent of IOTA, and then they renamed it to MyOTA years ago when it very first launched. I was big into this project. I was on all the pages and stuff, and I had a lot of it. The problem is that it's extremely complicated to get a DAG to work efficiently, and IOTA just ran into tons and tons of issues, and it got hacked. It's a really bad hack. If you go research IOTA, maybe you guys already have, but there was a really bad hack in early 2020, and it shut the network down for a while. So was this the pump and then crash after that? I think this is what crashed the price. I don't really know exactly. Somewhere in here it crashed. Maybe this is it right here. This little big dip right here was the hack. And it's been coming back since then. I mean, they've kind of they mostly fixed the problem that caused the initial hack. But DAGs are extremely difficult. DAGs and shards. So anything that runs a sharded network and DAGs are just not proven at scale for blockchains. So my biggest issue with all these DAG projects is just the winner of them. Whoever figures out how to build a distributed ledger on a DAG or any sort of graph. I mean, it didn't have to be a directed acyclic graph. It could be, there's other graph technologies. Whoever figures out how to build a distributed ledger on a graph technology, which is more efficient than a blockchain, they will be a huge winner in theory. But we'll just see it's going to take some time to flesh that out. So maybe Nano's worth doing some research on. I've tried researching some of the other DAG players. And I haven't seen one that gives me a lot of confidence just yet. So maybe Nano's the one. So I will go read up on it. But yeah, I'm just, generally speaking, I'm kind of wary of DAGs or any graph-based ledgers. Timothy says, HBAR, please. Oh, hash. Yeah. I've been getting a lot of questions about HBAR. HBAR is another graph-based one, right? So it's Hedera Hashgraph. Yes, there's another graph. All these graph-based ones. They're getting, wow, up 30% today. I think what I need to do is I need to spend some time, and maybe this is a good follow-up. Maybe we can try to talk about it on Friday a little bit, the difference between a blockchain. So when we talk about smart contracts, this is maybe viable to talk about the difference between a blockchain and a graph-based technology. Yeah, look at HBAR moving. Graphs are more efficient than blockchains, that's for sure. So typically they use a directed acyclic graph, but I think Hedera is using a different type of graph. It's not directed acyclic, I forget what they call it. But maybe they've unlocked the key to getting a graph-based technology to work for a distributed ledger, and if they have, then the upside is monstrous, monumentally huge. The other problem I have is that, again, with Cardano going live, Cardano is using all known technology. So here's my biggest problem with all these graph-based. So Nano, Hedera, IOTA, MyOTA. Cardano has figured out how to do DAG or graph-like scaling using sidechain orchestration. So they have their the fork. So they have something called the hard fork combinator, which they spend a lot of time developing this thing called the hard. That's why these like hard forks are no big deal. Like you hear about the Mary's hard fork, they can fork their chain and it's no big deal because they have what's called the hard fork combinator. And so managing a bunch of chains that are even at different styles of chains, and then so if you need to fork or build a bunch of different chains out, they can recombine that data using the hard fork combinator, and they have a multi-chain orchestration engine. And so, because Cardano has figured out how to use a more stable technology, and it's built on blockchain at its core, so it's got all the security and the known elements of blockchain, but it's got scaling that rivals any of these graph-based products, but with all known technologies. So everything that all the papers they've done, right? So they use nothing but really well figured out technologies, and so my problem with all of these graph-based technologies is it's going to take them a few more years to prove themselves out to where they get any real adoption, with Cardano being out there and available. Because Cardano is, so Ethereum's the main network everybody uses today. Cardano is the one that I think that developers of Ethereum have high level of confidence is going to work and not have a bunch of security issues or flaws or bugs, right? That's just going to work. And then obviously Cardano's done a bunch of work to make with their Ayala. So the Ayala is the programming interface that allows pretty much any programming language you can write smart contracts with pretty much any programming language. So the combination of a couple of those things, I think it's going to take a couple of years for the graph-based ones to prove themselves and then to overtake, say, like a Cardano, which they could in the long run because again, graph-based technologies are just more efficient than blockchains. But by then Cardano might have pivoted too. I don't know, but nonetheless, that doesn't matter. So that's my issue. This cycle, we're talking about the best investments for this cycle. I think these graph-based technologies could really move, could really pop, but ultimately they're not going to have any real adoption till next cycle. So I think another way of putting that is I've been focused on projects that I think this cycle are going to have more, real hype from this project. This DApp is being developed on this platform. This, this lending platform, whatever, right? And I think that's going to give them more hype and more sustained upside and a little bit easier to hold, and maybe not so much trade, but to hold for sure. These graph-based ones, I think, are the next cycle are going to be the champions of the next cycle. So whoever figures out this graph-based technology, but it's worth researching now because we're kind of in we've done all of our research. We're all in our positions, so this is a good time to research. So I will put some work into Hedera, Hashgraph, and Nano, and see if I can figure out if they have something really well figured out. Hedera is obviously a lot bigger than Nano right now, about twice the size, market cap wise, looks like. So no, that's my whole spiel on graph-based technology. So anytime, that's my general thought. I will try to do some more work on them though. Oh yeah, Louis the VIII is the 3K cognac. Thank you. That wasn't the one I was thinking of, but yeah, Louis the VIII is expensive. Take a look at VET. Yeah, VET's running. So I took profit on VET. I will show you what I have on VET. You see this line right here, the 125 line? I don't know that we're going to break that. So that's where I took profit over here. I re-entered a little bit as we resumed off of here, and I took profit again up there. Look, I drew a little face. Make it a smiley face. Yeah, so this 125 level is a good place to take profit. We keep getting rejected at that, and then re-enter the trade on top of that. So what I've done, I took profit here, re-entered down here, and if we get above that, just it's a small price to pay to sell here, and to not have to worry about the downside. Now this is versus Bitcoin, of course, right? So if you're somehow trading VET leveraged or whatever, that changes the equation quite a bit. But it could sell off back to 96. And so if you were to sell here, then you could re-enter a position and make a lot of headway, or it's a small price to pay and then re-enter up here on a breakout retest resumption. So that is my general thought on VET. So I've taken profit again on VET. All right. GBTC is 5.6% discount to NAV. Last week was 12%. Downside is that OTC, it can't be traded outside normal trading hours or all weekend. Thanks, Crypto Tiger. I will research them. Yeah, so GBTC, we've been playing the I didn't get it quite as well as I probably should have. No, with my conviction that there was going to be a sell-off, I sold 50% of my BITW up here. And then sure enough, we got the sell-off. The problem is I rotated into GBTC, maybe a little bit too early too up here. But nonetheless, so that's what I did. I still have 50% of my BITW on, but GBTC is a fantastic buy below NAV. When Bitcoin makes its next leg up, when Bitcoin's trading at 60,000 plus, that premium is going to expand and it's going to get way back above NAV. The reason it got below NAV, just so you guys know, so NAV is net asset value. It's the actual value of assets on the book on the trust. It got below NAV because a lot of competitors came on the market, so people took their funds. People who are wanting exposure to Bitcoin through equities that had their money in GBTC because it had pretty much a monopoly on it. They've taken their money to other trusts that are now available. So it caused the premium to collapse. Now, ultimately, they're all going to average out probably. The other thing, too, is GBTC has a much higher fee structure than some of these other trusts. So, it'll still get above NAV for sure when a big expansion phase, but it's going to underperform other trusts with lower fee structures. That's the other thing to keep in mind. Now, I don't have access to a lot of these other trusts that have come online, or like Canadian. There's a Canadian one I know about. And then BITW is the other one. I basically just been playing BITW to GBTC because that's what I have access to. And I'm really only buying GBTC for the next few months for this bull market cycle. So the fee structure, while it's annoying, it's not too terribly impactful to me. But that's what caused it to collapse. All right. Knowing it's a sensitive question, anyone here heard of people opening Binance Bitfinex account from VPN? Yes, Narwhal Tacos. I've heard of that. I would advise against it personally. I would never do it. I would use whatever option is available to you legally, just because I just don't feel like getting my my funds confiscated. That's the last thing I need. Oh. So you guys are chatting about GBTC, sorry. AVX does its own thing. Has mainnet. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, sorry, I missed that about it. I'll go research AVX too. You guys are bringing up some really good projects that I need to go look at. I've been so heads down on these kind of main ones here. I need to look at some of the smaller projects. And Litecoin is a copy of BTC. Exactly. It's just with some stuff stripped out. That's it. Hasuku 21 is what I'm thinking of. So it's $2,000, my goodness. And the 12 years only $200? Yeah, I'll go with the 12 year, thank you. Well, maybe when we sell at the very peak of Bitcoin, I'll buy some of these $2,000 bottles or something. And Litecoin is a copy. Okay, what is the next level of resistance for BTC, in your opinion? Whatever this top wick is, 58,353. The next level. Yeah, none of this other stuff really matters. It's this level. It's the top of that wick right there. Now, I guess the bodies of this will provide. It's not going to. No, the answer is this. In my opinion, I mean, it's just my. So whatever that number is, 58,335 or so, I think is the next resistance. All this, I mean, you got a level here, technically speaking, and you have another level here. Those are going to be light resistances that. And it really shouldn't affect the price too terribly much. You'll be able to watch it. Like, you go to a 12-minute time frame or something, you'll see the algos interacting with those levels. And if you're really trading on a really low time frame, you could probably trade around 59, 55, 919, 57, 547 or two levels, technically speaking. But I wouldn't be too worried about them. The level that's going to matter is 58, 335. Okay, thoughts on Loopring beta protocol raises concerns regarding official guardian. I'm going to Google what you just said because I haven't seen this. Raises concern. I don't know about this Loopring beta protocol raises concern regarding official guardian. I don't know what that means. I'm missing something there. My thoughts on Loopring is that it has a ton of potential. Maybe that's what I'm doing. I'm hitting log instead of auto. I'm trying to get my chart back to the auto scaling. Christopher, if you could clarify what you mean. Loopring official. Loopring beta protocol. All right. Can't set stops on GBTC because it's OTC. Yeah, so GBTC is like not really something you trade. It's something stuff in an equity account that you can't, that money is not available to trade to buy Bitcoin itself. That's what I buy GBTC just in equity accounts or. No, I did have some funds that come available. Just Friday, actually. I think it was Thursday or Friday. I sold something else, had some funds available, and it was on an exchange, another equity exchange. And so instead of waiting to transfer that money out, to transfer it to my bank account and then over to an on-ramp to buy Bitcoin itself, because GBTC was at a discount on NAV, I just bought GBTC. And so, I will sell when when Bitcoin comes into some level of resistance here or some level we pick out as we watch the trade develop. I'll sell that GBTC and eventually move it over. But it's a great way. I happen to have some money freed up on an exchange, and so I bought it GBTC just because, again, I think Bitcoin's price was down here in that. I don't know if it was below 50 for sure. It was in the 47, 48, 46,000 somewhere in there, and GBTC was trading at a pretty heavy discount to NAV, so that's to me that was a no-brainer to buy GBTC rather than doing all the machinations of moving money around to be able to buy Bitcoin itself. Thank you for pointing out the blind spots. Literally, no one talks about any potential hurdles with Nano. No problem, Terminal Sandwich. I mean, that's the thing. There's a lot of crypto projects, thousands and thousands and thousands, and only a handful work out. Any familiar with Litany, Lit, for identity verification? Yeah, I have heard of Lit. I've looked into it. I've commented on it before on the stream. I think it's got this. There's a couple of them that are in this space. I think it's got some merit. Yeah, so there's another one that's a key management system, a KMS, and this one's a digital management infrastructure, digital management or DM, built on Substrate, ready for Polkadot. So it's built on Substrate. This is either going to be, I don't know if they got selected for a parachain slot, or if they're on Kusama. That's something to look into. If so a big plus is if the community elected Litany for a parachain slot on Polkadot, that means it's got some really good potential. So I'd be more interested. But if it's on Kusama, see it says here that it's built on Substrate, ready for Polkadot. So it's probably a Kusama project today. Let's look at it. Anything that's on the Polkadot ecosystem, if it gets selected for all the projects that get selected for parachain, I'm instantly interested in, because it's pretty rigorous to go through to be voted into a parachain slot on Polkadot. Yeah, all it says is that it's built on Substrate. So I think they're currently lobbying for, it's a Chinese-based thing, they're currently lobbying for a parachain slot is what it sounds like. I'll look into it. I don't have any more thoughts right now. Yeah, Litany aims to be the parachain of Polkadot network. Yep. So they're trying to get a parachain slot. If they get the parachain slot, obviously there'll be a big boon to its price, and I'll be very interested. I'll be happy to buy the dip. So obviously, just like any IPO, any project that gets the parachain slot, it's going to spike in price and then it's going to sell off, right? Like any IPO, kind of, sort of. And that's when I want to buy these projects. I want the security of knowing they were selected for a parachain slot. They're going to be on the Polkadot mainnet, and I'll wait until they have a nice dip. So I want to keep. There's so many. There's so many projects going live on Polkadot right now, or being built on Substrate. There's a lot to keep track of. So thanks for bringing this one to my attention. I'll try to keep this tab open for tomorrow. Hey, Brandon. Hey, Matt. Would you be able to check out Riot and Mara? Hey, I did a video, by the way, on Riot and Mara, but like a month ago, and I was super... Sorry, my microphone just fell over. What the heck, man? Let's turn this thing this way. Hold on, let me lower this. Give it a wider base here. All right, I did a video on Riot. Yep. Sorry. So in my video, I said they spike randomly, really hard, and then they lag versus Bitcoin, right? And then they'll sell off. So when Bitcoin consolidates, they'll sell off much harder than Bitcoin. And then what happened last cycle, let me just show you this. This is what I brought out in my last that video I did on them. So I'll put this on a log chart for you. So let's go back to our last cycle. This is my BLX. It's kind of my log chart for BTC. I use it for all kinds of things. But here's the last cycle, I believe, right? 2006. Wait, hold on. What am I looking at? 16. Yeah, the cycle started at 16, peaked out in 17, late 17. All right. So if I overlay on this chart, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to overlay, compare Riot blockchain, which was a leading blockchain way back then, or leading platform. You'll see that early in the cycle, when Bitcoin made it, like Riot popped randomly and then faded, and Riot would make these moves, but when Bitcoin moved, Riot would kind of pop randomly and have these like, you know, I called them short squeezes, and Heath corrected me and said they really weren't short squeezes. They were something else. I forgot how he described it. But you'll see that the overall percentage gain, so from the halving, I'm just going to put my thing, the very beginning of the halving, the percentage gain on Riot, so Bitcoin gained nearly 3,000% last cycle, and Riot gained 1,000%. So that's my problem with the miners, is that they underperform. When it's all said and done, they underperform. But, I mean, I think they've already like 10x'd on us. So Riot has already. So that's what I pointed out last time, is that they would pop, they would like have these big spikes randomly, and then they would fade. Let's go look at the actual chart on Riot. So I had a bunch of Riot. I mean, I bought a bunch of Riot at $3, and then I sold it. I think at like 5, or I don't even know where it was I sold it at. I don't know. It might have been. It probably was. I bought it down here at $2 and sold it at $4. And then I rotated all that to Bitcoin because I didn't want to mess with these miners. I'd rather, because of the research I had done. Now, granted, I had bought Riot myself at like $3. So if I would have held on to it, that would have been a 10, 20x. You know, getting out at 80, like, it had been so hard to figure out when to get out of this. I do think it'll probably underperform Bitcoin the rest of the way. That's my guess, but I don't. It proved me wrong. I mean, this move was way bigger, way bigger percentage-wise than the moves the miners made last cycle. So something's a little bit different. People get it now. Maybe this time, I don't really know. Maybe it's institutional money is interested in it. And Mara. Yeah, I mean, Mara's holding up maybe a little bit better percentage-wise than even. You can see Mara might be coming back into a level of support, actually. Here, hold on. Obviously, as Bitcoin makes its next leg up, what's going to disappoint people is as Bitcoin makes its next leg up, these guys are going to continue to consolidate, maybe just go sideways. That's kind of what I saw. I vaguely remember seeing that behavior last cycle. And obviously was watching these a lot closer, you know, back over here. All these lines I had on it. All right. Theta is now top 100 folding at home. What is your BTC price estimate for this run? 288,000. Looks like ADA is starting to maybe pick up. Yeah. So ADA needs to break this. I mean, ADA is just still sleepy. It's still consolidating. But ADA needs to break. It's starting to. You're right. A little bit. See this line, this white line I have here? I got that on the daily. That's that last daily. So we haven't, this is the last, so we had this big sell-off. This is the first bullish or candle, green candle that we have, and that's where it topped out at. So that's the level we need to break. If you break that, retest, resume, it's a great trade entry. And that level is basically $1.16. So you want to see a break of this. The problem is it might break and go like to $1.40 and then never come back. These things break out like that. But I bet you'll get a good retest of it. Maybe watch that on a 4-hour. That's going to be one of those 4-hour ones. That might happen pretty fast. Hopefully you can get that on the 12-hour. But yeah, we'll see if Cardano breaks up. With Bitcoin doing what it's doing, Cardano should be pulled up, which is going to break this stalemate. Maybe it'll just inch up. until we get. So there's a couple things I did want to talk about Cardano. Let's close on this note. Cardano. Let's close on Cardano. We're going to talk about Cardano. Hey, Tamar, I looked at H-bar. Rewind a little bit. We looked at H-bar. Or you want to look at the. Hold on. I talked about Hedera Hashgraph a little bit ago. It's very bullish. It's going up. Yeah, you need to wait for it to cool off to buy at this point if you're going to buy it. It looks very bullish. If you're holding it, just hold it. Maybe a place to take profit. So, see this trend line here? It was a good way. All right, off that trend line, did you make a 30% move? Yeah, 70% move. Good place to take a little bit of profit off and hope to buy back, come back into this trend line. Let's talk about ADA to close here. All right, why did ADA move so much, and then why did it not sell off as much as people thought? I think people thought it was going to sell off a whole lot more than it did. And the reason is people kept calling this the mainnet launch. Mainnet launch. That's technically speaking not an accurate statement whatsoever. So what happened was the Mary's hard fork. And so there's two layers with Cardano. Let me find some white space. So Cardano has two main chains. Now again, the way Cardano works is it has this multi-chain orchestration capability. So just multi-chain, right? So it can manage multiple side chains. So their scaling solution is a bunch of side chains. So these are smaller side chains. Now the two main chains. So these two main chains. One's called the settlement layer, the SL, the settlement layer. The other one's called the computation layer, the CL. So the settlement layer is where tokens like ADA live. This is where unspent transaction outputs are recorded. So your UTX, your account balance basically is recorded on the settlement layer, and all things associated with currency exchange and account balances. So what's unique about Cardano is that on the main settlement layer, on the main chain, this main chain, you can create, and now there's a bunch of new tokens. So the Mary's hard fork, what it enabled, I'm going to do a new color here. How do I change this color? So when they hard forked, so say this is the new fork. When they hard forked the chain, so the Mary's hard fork to this new settlement layer chain, this new settlement layer is coded to enable a native multi-asset. So that means if I want to create Brandon's coin, so we'll call it, or let's call it CTT for crypto trades and tech, right? So we're going to create a crypto trades and tech token on Cardano. So I'm going to create my CTT coin here. My CTT coin has the same access and the same treatment, the VIP treatment that ADA, the native token of Cardano, gets on the main settlement layer chain. So CTT, and you can swap CTT for ADA at the same price of doing a transaction or of a transfer on ADA. So it's send ADA from one wallet to another is a penny or something like that, US dollars equivalent, so a fraction of an ADA or something. I forget how much. It's not very much, right? So to trade assets, it's the same as moving funds around, right? So you can natively trade assets on the main settlement layer. This is unique because, like on Ethereum, you need something called you need a smart contract. You need a full smart contract and tokens. So if I wanted to create the crypto trades and tech coin on Ethereum, I've got to write this smart contract with a bunch of coding in here. And one of the big problems Ethereum has is that this coding is subject to a lot of errors and issues and bugs. There's been a lot of coins that had bugs, ERC20 tokens and coins that have had bugs that crashed the whole project. Okay, that's been a big problem. And it's a lot of risk that you're taking on. It's a lot of work. It's very difficult to write a full smart contract just to support a new token. Well, over here on Cardano, in my dataless wallet, I can go using the GUI. Now there's a CLI for doing this too, so there's a command line interface. You can create new coins with the CLI, or in a new dataless update, you can do it with the dataless GUI. So just right in the dataless wallet, you can create your own coin, and it gets the same treatment as ADA in this main settlement layer. That's what went live. It was just an upgrade to the settlement layer. The Mary's hard fork was just an upgrade of the settlement layer to support multi-asset. So that's all it was. It was an upgrade to the settlement layer to support multi-asset. What's still yet to come is the live. Now, this computational layer is in testnet. And in the near future, the Cardano team will fork the computational layer. The full Goguen computational layer will be forked and made available and start using this multi-chain orchestrator. We'll start talking to the settlement layer, and that's when Goguen will actually be live, when the computational layer exits its testnet phase and becomes a main chain, and then starts orchestrating with the settlement layer. And the computation layer is what allows you to write smart contracts. Now, you don't need smart contracts to create coins, remember, so you can just natively create tokens on here. But then you can do, all the, you can write your smart contracts to do whatever it is functionality that you want that enables full functionality on Cardano. That's yet to release. So, the reason the sell-off, the point of me going through all this, was the reason the sell-off wasn't as steep as people think or thought, because they had a misunderstanding this was some type of like mainnet launch. This was simply an upgrade along the path to getting Cardano fully rolled out. Now, it enabled a lot of really cool stuff, and it allows some projects like NFTs and decentralized exchanges to get to work. And there's a lending platform, I forget the name of it, it's Liquid or something like that, that's going live. They're actively developing on Cardano. There'll be a lending platform, and they're being very active in development ahead of Goguen, but as soon as Goguen goes live, they'll be live. So when Goguen goes live, the computational layer will come to life and Cardano will be fully launched. Then after that, let's go to the Cardano.org. I just want to make sure you guys understand this. I go to developers and the roadmap. All right, so what we're talking about here is, if you remember, something called Shelley launched late. So in 2020, I think it was August or September 2020, Shelley went live, which allowed staking, basically, and decentralization. So it allowed the community to start to mint blocks. It allowed stake pools and staking on with ADA on Cardano. And then this Mary's hard fork was kind of a bridge between Shelley and Goguen. It was the final update to the settlement layer before the computational layer can then be fully active. So it was the bridge. It was the key bridge to enabling, to the completion of Shelley, and it was really the first phase of enabling Goguen. So Goguen, once it gets launched here in a few months, that's the computational layer going live. After the computational layer, there's still a bunch of upgrades yet to come after that are all scaling upgrades. So right now the consensus mechanism is called Ouroboros. Now there's a layer to Ouroboros called Ouroboros Hydra, where you can, Hydra obviously meaning multiple heads, multi-heads. So it's a scaling mechanism. It's a series of scaling updates. It's not one thing. It's not a single. It's a whole series of updates they have planned. Now all 5 of these have been developed simultaneously. This is not they worked on Byron and then they did Shelley and then they did Goguen. No, from the beginning they've been working on all 5 of these. This was the plan of rollout, right? So all 5 of these have been worked on together. But so after Goguen goes live, the other thing is Goguen will probably have a sell the news event for Goguen because it's the biggest of all of the updates. When Goguen finally happens, then Cardano is fully functional and live. But there are still scaling updates that are in the pipeline that are being developed actively today, and so there'll still be a lot of hype around the different scaling elements. And then Voltaire is the final phase, and that's really already in process greatly because the governance mechanism and the treasury system requires that we get to decentralization. So you can't do this without this. So obviously, Voltaire, these steps are required to get to Voltaire, especially the Shelley era stuff. So that's where we're at. That's why ADA didn't sell off as much as I think people thought, and that's why it still has a lot of room for hype because we still have 3 major events to come for Cardano. 3 major events that are going to happen here before too long. Number 1 is any Goguen updates. I always spell Goguen wrong. I'm going to double check the spelling. G-O-G-U-E-N. I have an issue spelling that. Any updates related to Goguen going live, right? There's going to be some hype around that. 2 is Coinbase listing. It's going to happen any day now. That's going to cause... Right, that's going to cause some... The fact that it's not on Coinbase is absurd. 3, so Goguen update. So Goguen still has yet to come live. Coinbase. 3, there's really kind of 4 things. I kind of mentioned one. Is an unexpected projects developing. Unexpected projects announcing that they're going to go live on Cardano, but this is most likely to happen after this. This is probably not going to happen now. This is probably a post-Gogan thing. And then number 4 is the Ethiopia announcement. There's been a lot of press. They've been working, I think it's IOP anyway. The country of Ethiopia is going to be using Cardano for something big. It seems to be that they're going to use it for, I forget the exact what it's for. It's somebody help me out here. Hold on. Ethiopia Cardano. It is identification system potentially, but a whole slew of things. I think it might start with an identification system, identity card system that's going to be using Cardano. But the country of Ethiopia wants to be the China of Africa, and so they're very progressive, and so they're looking to use Cardano for a lot of things. So that's going to open a multi-trillion-dollar gateway into Africa for Cardano. So those are the next kind of major things that can cause Cardano to really move in price. So that's why that's why the sell-off. I kept saying there will be a sell to news, and there was. This is I mean, it sold off what? Take a look here. 30-something%, but also that was in concert with Bitcoin selling off. So this was hardly a major sell-off because Bitcoin also sold off 20-something%. So Cardano held up so well because this was just one of many steps along the way. And because it was so, I think honestly the reason it didn't sell off is because it was a huge deal. I mean, it's a lot of work and time and energy that went into that, and it went off flawlessly. And what that kind of proved is that their hard fork combinator, the fact that they can handle hard forks like it's nothing, that's unique. There's no other blockchain that can deal with hard forks like it's nothing. And Cardano does it all the time. They hard fork all the time, and it's no big thing. And they've had hundreds of hard forks, literally, and nobody's ever noticed them. So, I think obviously most of them have been testnet hard forks, but you get the idea. Like on the mainnet, there's been many, many hard forks, and nobody's ever noticed it, and that's unique. No other cryptocurrency has such an easy time dealing with hard forks because of the hard fork combinator that they put a lot of time and energy into. All right, that's a little update on Cardano. Maybe I'll turn that into a video tomorrow. My picture is jerky. Is that my video in the bottom right? I'm sorry for that. Indiana Jones. Let's read some more comments and I'm going to close up. Anything anybody want to look at here right before I leave? How about the graph? We talked about the graph earlier. Rewind. I spent some time on it. It's sitting on support right now versus Bitcoin. I think I just added to the graph. The other day I took profits out of Vet or Engine or something. Engine. Took profits out of Engine and bought the graph. It's sitting on support versus Bitcoin right now. All right. It's a great project. I love it. It has to do with their wallets. Christopher, thoughts on Loopring? Oh, okay. A Loopring wallet issue. Yeah. As long as it's not, I'm not ever concerned with wallet issues. If it's an issue with that's an annoyance, but as long as it's not a problem with the main chain or the core governance or consensus mechanism, then I'm not too concerned, typically. Now, if it's a reoccurring issue, if it's a one-time issue, I'm not concerned. If it's a reoccurring issue and they constantly are having problems, then that gives you a sense of the quality of their development. So, is it time to go all in on Bancor Network, BTN? Man, I don't know. I'll leave that for you guys. I don't have time to look. I think I'm gonna skip the VeChain's great. It's into resistance. That's into resistance. I took profit here. I bought back here, and I took profit again here. I make a little smiley face. It's into resistance on the Bitcoin chart. NFT play flow is bouncing off of Heath lines. God, y'all give me so many projects to research. I gotta put some time on my calendar to research these. Oh yeah, I looked at Flow before. Now that I see the logo. Look at it. Woo! NFTs are hot. So hot right now. So that was that GIF. I'm trying to find the so hot right now GIF. This is like way too hard. Anyway, you get the idea. NFTs they're a little bit overplayed, but yeah. Bitcoin please, Ethereum please. They're bullish. We go back to them. They're going up. Ooh! Bitcoin. So yeah, when Bitcoin broke this 52.7 level, I said it was off to the races. So it's going pretty much straight to 58 with a few little stops at, and it's going to stop right here. Pause that little wick down right there. There's no level. These are all light resistances that won't matter much ultimately, I don't think. There's another level, yeah. 53.9 it stopped at for a brief moment. It'll stop at 55.9. It'll stop at 57.5. You'll be able to watch on a low time frame, like a 12-minute. You'll be able to watch the algos interact with it. But I mean, it had like a consolidation there and moved on. Yeah, I don't see anything getting in the way of it going all the way to the big test. Would be 58.335. Do we double top there and then have a bigger sell-off, or do we break through? That'll be the big question. Ethereum looking very bullish. Ethereum's going to 2,800 soon-ish. I mean, it could top out at 20. Any of these lines, it could double top just like Bitcoin at 22,058. And it could go all the way to 2,800. I favor it going to probably maybe at least 2,581 in the next month. And then we're going to get a nasty sell-off. I'm warning you guys now, there's going to be a vicious sell-off in crypto. I'm going to be getting very defensive after this next impulse leg up on crypto. So right around when Bitcoin's hitting 70,000, somewhere between 70 and 100,000, it's going to be tricky. We'll be on these live streams. Jordan will be talking about it too, I'm sure, a lot. But somewhere between 70 and 100,000. I don't know exactly where. That's going to be. There'll be some Fibonacci work we can do or something to try to figure that out. Some trend line work, something. Looking at patterns when we get up there. That's going to be a 40% sell-off. But again, all these indicators, a lot of things are going to be broken because of the money supply. I mean, all of our indicators, lots of things are going to be broken. So things are going to move. Things are going to move beyond what people think. OSU fever, no problem. I don't think I ever saw a comment. All I saw was you saying, check BTC one last time. Yeah, 54K. It's coming into that little light resistance. I don't think it'll be much. It'll pause there for a bit, though. No problem, Matt. See ya. CTM guy. Yep, CTM forever, guys. All right. H-bar going nuts. I got to get off, guys. It is getting late. Whoo, look at H-bar. Hedera Hashgraph. Okay, well, I'll put some work on this. Like we said, that trend line, coming back into this trend line would be a great place to look. I'll put some work. I will maybe Friday. You know what? Let me just do this. Let me try to get out a couple. Let me do some research on these graph based, and maybe I'll make that a daily update one of these days this week. When I get a chance to do a daily update, that'll be a great. I love doing these live streams because the comments give me so many great ideas for. I've been kind of out of ideas as to what to do for my daily update, but looking into the graph based ones, talking about what's different about graph based approaches versus blockchain, and discussing the merits of graph versus blockchain and the challenges with it, and then the major projects in that space. I think that'll be an awesome daily update. So look for that then. We'll try to make that a daily update ahead of our Friday talk. The Friday talk is going to be very focused on helping people understand what smart contracts are, what they mean, through the lens of Ethereum. Oh, H-bar. Thanks, Brett. Thanks, everybody. We're gonna wrap up here. Let me throw on some of my Doge-wave outro for you guys.